Yo, what's poppin', Poké Pals? Rare TCG coming at you with a brand new video. Ladies and gentlemen, Ascended Heroes is finally out, and we are starting it hot with Erika's Victreebel. That's right, you heard me correctly. Erika's Victreebel, not Erika's Vileplume, the EX, but rather the Victreebel, which, by the way, is a lot stronger than the Vileplume can ever be. So, for those of you who don't know, it has two attacks. Solar Beam does 130. 2 grass, 1 colorless, yawn. Nobody cares about that. It has the second attack, which is really its first attack, Flower Garden Rondo. This attack does 40 damage for each of your Erika's Pokemon in play, including the Victreebel. Combine that with the help of Erika's Tangela, which has the ability Gathering of Blossoms, which says once during your turn you may use this ability. Search your deck for any Erika's Pokemon, reveal it, and put it into your hand, and then shuffle your deck. And these do stack. So if you have 3 Tangelas in play, you could search your deck for 3 Erika's Pokemon in that turn. And that's pretty much it. I mean, like, it's that simple. 15 Pokemon in the deck, all of which are Tangela and the Victreebel line. That's literally it. There's really not much else to do. You might be thinking to yourself, oh, Rare, why don't you use, like, Area Zero Underdepths and Meganium and this, that, the third, and then you get... Listen, I've tried it with Ogerpon Cornerstone, and the Area Zero Underdepths and the Meganium and like all that other stuff that we were thinking of. And honestly, it plays a lot better without the Area Zero Underdepth, simply because everybody and their mama is playing stadiums. So your Area Zero Underdepths gets bounced like that. And then next thing you know, you're discarding a bunch of your Erika's Pokemon for no reason. And it becomes a whole hassle. The Meganium gets like used up on the bench and you're not doing as much damage. It's just a whole hassle. So honestly, less is more with this deck. And it's such a true statement for this deck. So what are we doing with this deck? So we have the Forest of Vitality, because why not? If you have 3 Tangela, you could literally just get out an entire Victreebel line with the help of Forest Vitality. We play 2 Night Stretchers, because if one of your Pokemon goes down, you want to retrieve them. And we also play Max Rod as our ace spec, which might seem a little odd, but if your whole Victreebel line goes down from your opponent's attack, you can Max Rod, get the Bellsprout, the Weepinbell, and the Victreebel out of your discard pile and just load it back up with the help of Forest of Vitality. We also play the new Poké Pad item card, which allows you to search your deck for any Pokemon without a rule box, which all of these Pokemon in this deck don't have a rule box, and just put them into your hand. So that's a great way that we can also get Tangela out of our deck, because Tangela is the most important card in the deck. Now, because we're not playing Meganium, we do need an extra energy cost. So we have the Dark Energy, because poison types are dark, so Victreebels are grass and poison, so why not? So we have Crispin to help power up our Victreebels, if possible, by our second turn. And then if we're really in a bind, we can always use 2 copies of Rare Candy, and we have 2 copies of Air Balloon, because Tangela could get stuck in the active position. That's not really that good. And then, of course, we have 3 copies of Brave Bangle. So with everything in play, your Victreebel should be hitting for 270 with the Brave Bangle, which is enough to knock out most EXs, like Stage 1 and Basics. So that's not bad. So let's get to today's objectives. For those of you who are new to the channel or are not aware, we have objectives that we try to complete on this channel. The first objective, which is our main objective, is the same as always. It's to win a game or 2. I say or 2 because if the deck is performing well, we want to be able to showcase more than 1 win so that you guys know that it's not just a fluke, and also because it's a good way to showcase the card that I want to showcase, that being Victreebel. My opponent could concede, my opponent could have a hard time setting up, and I don't think it's really fair to the card that I'm showcasing if the only win we get is by sheer luck. I want to actually take all my prize cards, or my opponent concedes because I just like put them in checkmate or something like that. So that's why we always try to get as many wins as possible. But then we have 2 side objectives which are tailored to the card that we are showcasing. And for Victreebel's case, our first side objective is that we have to OHKO an EX Pokemon. I don't care what it is, it just has to be one-shotted by our boy Victreebel here. And then our second side objective is to use Forest of Vitality to set up by turn 2. So on our second turn, we should have Victreebel completely set up, ready to go, powered up with Crispin, Forest of Vitality, all that fun stuff. That's a pretty tall order to ask for, but I think we can get it done. I've been on the ladder for a little bit. As you guys can see, hold on one second. I'm already up to level 8 on the Battle Pass. I haven't ranked up yet, which I'm surprised about. But yeah, I mean, this deck is doing pretty well for us, so let's hop on the ladder and see how many wins we can get today. All right, here we are in game 1, starting off with just a Bellsprout, which actually is not even that good. I have pretty much everything I need. I just need the Force of Vitality, honestly, because I already have the Crispin. And I would like some Tangelas, but unfortunately Tangela has 80 HP, which means he is just over the threshold for Buddy-Buddy Poffin, hence why we played the new Poké Pad to help us find Tangelas if we need to. So this is not a good start for us, and it looks like we are going up against a Terrapagos deck, so not good for us. So let me just get 2 Bellsprouts out of the deck, and I don't know if I want to attach or not. You know what? I'm just going to attach to my main Bellsprout here, and then we'll Crispin onto one of the bench Bellsprouts. That way, if this guy goes down, we have another Bellsprout waiting in the wings. If I could somehow get myself Forest of Vitality, we could actually get Victreebel set up and complete side objective number 2. Although I would like to hit for max damage, so I don't know if I really want to do that. I also don't have any way to really search out my stadiums with this deck. I mean, ooh, that's a new Ultra Ball. I didn't see that. I like that. But as I was saying, I don't really have a way to search out my stadiums with this deck, so it could be a little cumbersome trying to get that Force of Vitality out of our deck. But once you get one Tangela on the bench, forget it. Like, he gets rolling. He just, like, sets himself up, which I really like about him. We get an Arven. That's going to get me my Tangela, so let's do that. Let's get the Poké Pad, and let's get the... We prize both our air balloons. Wow, okay. So we're going to use the Poké Pad here, and that's going to get me a Tangela. And then, watch this, guys. We just put one Tangela down. And then we just Tangela for a Tangela. And then we Tangela for another Tangela. And you usually want to have like 3 Tangelas in play. That way you can get your full line of Bellsprouts out every turn. Now, because we don't have the Force of Vitality, it also looks like my opponent's struggling to get things rolling. So I might actually just get all of my Weepinbells out now. Maybe I'll save one for next turn. I'm not quite sure what I want to do just yet. Let's just do this. We can always retreat this guy if anything goes awry. We're going to put our Brave Bangles onto them. And now these guys are hitting for 270 once I evolve them into Victreebel. And you know what? Let's just do 20 damage to Terrapagos. Why not? 20 damage is 20 damage. It's free. Alright, so they used their Noctowls. They got themselves a Crispin, which allowed them to power up their Terrapagos. And that's exactly why I did not want to evolve my Bellsprout, because something like that could have easily happened to us if I didn't put that down. And look at that, we got another Bellsprout. Beautiful. So I'm just going to evolve my Weepinbells right now. We have the Crispin in our hand, so that's going to get me my energy for my Victreebels, and that's pretty much it, and that's all she wrote. Let's get that and that. Doesn't matter what I put into my hand. Put that onto you, and just like that, Victreebel is completely set up. So it's not that difficult to get things rolling with this whole setup, and we're hitting for 270. Now, unfortunately, because I did swing with the Bellsprout, we can't cross off side objective number 1 just yet, because that was a 2-shot technically. I mean, I could be cheeky and be like, oh, well, you know, I did go, oh, and they're just going to concede. Beautiful. And that's pretty much it. I mean, this deck just gets set up so quick, they usually do concede. All right, here we are in game 2, starting things off with 2 Tangelas, which is actually pretty good for us. We are going second, though, which is not what this deck wants to do. You kind of want to go first with this deck, just so you can get things really rolling with the Crispin and getting your Pokemon set up, because unfortunately, Force of Vitality does not work on your, your first turn. So we need to be mindful of that when using Force of Vitality. And I have been seeing a lot of people playing grass decks, probably because of the new Mega Meganium, which, by the way, is super busted with Baby Meganium. I am not doing a deck review of that, because that is going to be one of the new meta decks, and you know we only do rogue decks around here, so Mega Meganium is not going to be a card that I showcase on this channel. So if you are looking for a Mega Meganium, I'm sorry to tell you this, but I will not be showcasing it. Alright, so let's get things started here. Let's get ourselves a Tangela. Oh, it's our last one. Okay, so we got a Tangela prize. That's good to know. Let's get myself some Bellsprouts going. One Bellsprout. And let's get another Bellsprout. And what I like about this deck is because it like thins through itself. You know what? Let's set up one of our Bellsprouts now. Why not? This in my hand. Let's attach this to you. Let's do that. Let's do this, and just hope that they don't have a boss. My only problem now is I don't have an air balloon for this Tangela to get him out of the active position. So that's going to stink. But let's see how my opponent decides to retaliate here. And it turns out they're not going to do much. They're just going to kind of pass to us. So I'm going to put down this Forest of Vitality, which will allow me to evolve straight up into my Victreebel. But now I still need to find a way to get my Tangela out of the active position. That's the only thing that I'm lacking here. But that seems like a problem for the future. So right now, let's get myself a Weepinbell. And let's get another Victreebel. So this is why I love Forest of Vitality, because we could literally just search out an entire Victreebel right now while simultaneously thinning out my deck. And there we go. And now we could just Lilies to get ourselves a whole new hand. And hopefully find ourselves our air balloon. We do! Beautiful. Okay. So we can attach this to you. We can attach this grass energy to you to get you set up. Let's do this to get myself a Bellsprout. Let's pop this guy down. Let's retreat, go into my Victreebel, and let's one-shot the Ogerpon, completing side objective number 1, which is OHKOing an EX Pokemon. Beautiful. And that's pretty much all this deck wants to do. It's hyper-aggressive, as you guys can see. It pretty much just works on its own. There's no need for the Area 0 Underdepth. There's no need for the Ogerpon. Like, it's less is more. I'm telling you guys with this deck. The less you have with this deck, the less you have to set up and like focus on, the more you have opportunities to really get the ball rolling. And they're going to get themselves the Meganium. But thankfully for us, they still needed 2 grass energies attached to get this Mega Meganium going. So we do have an advantage in that regard, because we could get the first hit off on this Mega Meganium while they're still powering up, and then we could 2-shot this Mega Meganium. So there we go. And that's it. They were unable to get their Mega Meganium set up. And we got the Crispin. So I am just going to start powering up this Bellsprout here. Let's attach that to you. Let's attach the grass energy to you. And now we'll use our Tangelas to get our Weepinbell and our Victreebel out of the deck. Getting ourselves a whole new Victreebel ready to go on the bench. And that's it. I mean, yes, you do need to find Crispins, which can be a little tedious, but at the same time, I mean, the deck pretty much sets itself up. The Erika's Tangelas do so much shuffling for you that you usually do find what you need, because you're thinning the deck constantly with the help of Erika. And honestly, I might be smelling a concession here, because usually when I get set up this quickly and there's a Mega with this much damage on it that's about to give me 3 prize cards, people usually concede in this point in time, so we'll have to see. They're going to Iono us, which I'm actually okay with. There's really nothing in my hand that I really wanted, except for maybe that energy, but yeah, we just got another energy right there, so it didn't really matter. We can attach that energy to this Victreebel. We can then Lily's Determination, getting ourselves a whole new hand, and we'll just take it from there. Again, I don't see a way of them getting this Meganium out of the active position unless they have an energy in their hand that they could attach and then retreat with. That's literally their only option right now. Unfortunately, they got themselves the energy that they needed. They got the bug catching set, which got them the energy, and they just max rotted for even more energy. So that's a little bit of a bummer. But if we could find ourselves a boss's orders, that would be tremendous for us. And now we just need to find a way to get this Victreebel out of our discard pile. So I need to find either my Max Rod, or I need to find my Night Stretcher so I can get the Bellsprout out. And that way I'm still hitting for maximum damage with one of my bench Victreebels. No way, they're energy switching to the Meganium. Are they planning on attack? Yeah, they're attacking with the Meganium. Oh, that was not your best play, my friend. Because I'm just going to come up with this Victreebel and just take 3 prize cards right now. Even with 1 bench space open, I could still hit for enough damage. And we pulled the boss's orders. Honestly, I might want to just save the boss's orders, because I'm hitting for 200 right now. No, because... hold on. Do we have any other Erika's Pokemon in the deck? If I have another Tangela. I have a Victreebel. I have a Tangela. Alright. I'll save that just in case of anything. No, it doesn't really matter for me to hold this boss. This doesn't really matter. I do get the Night Stretcher, though, so I'm actually going to take that and get my Bellsprout out. That way, I'm once again hitting for max damage, and I'm already setting myself up And I got the Arven for next turn for the Max Rod. So yeah, they literally just gave us 3 prize cards by leaving this Meganium in the active position. Their best play would have been to retreat the Meganium for the 1 energy because they have the baby Meganium on the bench. And then they could have went into one of their Ogerpons and taken me out for only a 2 prizer. But, okay. I'm not going to complain. Alright, so after Teal dancing half their deck away, they finally attack us with the Myriad Leaf Shower. But unfortunately for them, it's just a little too late, as I'm just going to bring in my Victreebel right now. I'm going to plop down this Bellsprout, and that's just going to be GG's. Like, there's really not much else I could do, as I hit them for 240, taking out their Ogerpon and taking another win. That's pretty much it. Like I said, the hardest part about this deck is just finding your Crispins to power up your Victreebels. But other than that, this deck is pretty much flawless in its setup. Alright, here we are in Game 3, starting things off with a Bellsprout and a Tangela, which is beautiful for us because we can use this Tangela to get myself 2 more Tangelas, and then we can use that last Tangela to get myself another Bellsprout and get this rolling. Oh, we're going up against Alakazam. This should be interesting. It's a 1 prizer against a 1 prizer. I have not encountered this matchup yet. So far, I've only gone up against players who play other EX Pokemon, and well, look at that. I didn't know Fan Rotom got a full art in this new set. That's nice. And what is this guy here? Oh, a shiny Abra. Nice. Okay. So this should be interesting to see how this plays out. So I have yet to encounter a fellow 1 prize deck. So we could either be in for something great or something terrible right now. First things first, we gotta get our Tangelas out as quickly as possible. Again, like I said, you want to have at least 3 Tangelas out. That way, you can find your entire Bellsprout line every turn consistently. And then let's just use this Tangela here to get my last Bellsprout. Last Bellsprout for the turn, rather, not my last Bellsprout. I'm going to Poké Pad here just to guarantee I get the last Bellsprout. There we go. And can Kadabra knock me out? I don't actually know, but I'm going to risk it for a biscuit and put that down. We get a Forest of Vitality. We don't, but we do get a Crispin. So next turn, what we could do is we could completely set up one of our bench Bellsprouts, or we could just set up our active Bellsprout and then attach an energy to this Bellsprout here. How much do you hit for? You hit for 30. Okay, no. So you weren't knocking me out. I didn't think so, but I didn't want to, you know, play it that casually. However, if they do have themselves a rare candy and energy, that will be it. There it is. Now, if they have an energy, that's definitely enough to take out my Bellsprout, which I'm not happy about. But we do have an Iono in our hand, which could completely knock off their entire setup here. Because Alakazam is all about its hand size. My only issue is I can't Crispin and Iono in the same turn, so I do need to keep that in mind. And there it is. They're just going to take out my Bellsprout, unfortunately. I think it's safer if we play defensively right now, meaning that like I just put the Tangela up and I don't put out any of my Bellsprouts. Because if I just give them a Victreebel right now, let's say, then all that's going to do is just allow them to do whatever they want. So I'm just going to Iono here, get their hand size down. That's the main thing you want to do here. We got a Weepinbell, we like that. But we still did not get a Forest of Vitality, which would have been nice. And we get another Weepinbell out. Just thinning the deck a little bit. And we do get another Iono. That's good for us too. And I'm also going to do my Tangela now, getting my next Weepinbell for next turn. And I think we're just going to... Yeah, I think we'll just end it there. So I'm okay with losing my Tangela this turn, because we can always Tangela for another Tangela. And I've already used one of my Night Stretchers for this Bellsprout, so I have to keep that in mind. But again, this is why we played the A-Spec of the Max Rod, so that we can get our whole line of Bellsprout and Victreebel out of the discard pile. So right now this isn't looking like a winning matchup, because right now they're ahead in the prize trade, as they're probably going to take out Tangela this turn, there's no doubt about that. And then from there, they could just, yeah, they could do massive damage to us, because we can't really set up a Victreebel all that quick. It sucks that Alakazam hits for so much for so little. Victreebel's biggest downside is the 2 energy cost, which could get a little ridiculous if you're not set up fast enough. Oh, they're gonna boss up my Weepinbell. Oh, that's what I was also afraid of. Yeah, if I was a Victreebel, I would have been able to survive that. I had enough HP, but yeah, right now this isn't looking like a winning matchup. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna promote the Weepinbell. Hopefully this Pokégear can get me a Crispin. That's my best bet right now. Let's get my Victreebel. Let's evolve into said Victreebel. Let's then get my Weepinbell. Let's get a Bellsprout. I'm trying to thin the deck as much as possible before I Pokégear. That way my odds are the highest of getting a Crispin. And we don't get him, unfortunately. Alright, so we're going to fail this. And I think that's just game from here. I don't think we could really do much else. I'll attach an energy and I'll Iono and just pray. I'll bring them down to a 4-hand size. And hopefully that deters that. And there was my Crispin, a day late and a $1 short. Who do I have in the discard? We have a Weepinbell and a Bellsprout. Well, I just put that guy down, so I'm not going to get that. Yeah, I'm just going to have to pass again. Ugh. Alright, so what we've learned from this experience is Alakazam is still the best one prize deck, unfortunately. Wow, the Iono actually saved us. They couldn't get what they needed. And we got the Forest of Vitality. Let's go. That was actually a good turn for us. Unfortunately for us, we... Actually, yes, we do. We have the Night Stretcher. What am I saying? We do have a Weepinbell for this Bellsprout. Good. We can do this. Get my Weepinbell out. And then we can use our Tangela here to get ourselves another Victreebel. And just like that, we have 3 Victreebels in play. I'm going to attach this Grass Energy to this Victreebel, and then I'll save my Crispin for next turn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Arven, getting myself the Max Rod in case of anything, and a Brave Bangle. And who knows, maybe we might have just brought this back with this one turn. Let's slam for 240, taking out the Alakazam. And hopefully they still don't have a way to retaliate, and we can start catching up in the prizing. That's my only hope right now. Right, well, they do get themselves another Alakazam, and they hit just enough to take out my, my Victreebel. But thankfully we have the Crispin in our hand, and we have the Max Rod, so we can get this entire line back in play with the help of Forest of Vitality. So it's almost like we're getting a Victreebel back for a Night Stretcher, in a way. As soon as my opponent takes a prize card. Alright, they finally took a prize card. I don't know if they were AFK for a second or what that was about, but that was kind of weird. Alright, so let's Crispin here. Boom, bam. That in my hand. Let's put that onto you. Attach that to you. Let's Max Rod here. Let's get our Victreebel back in play. Like so. And we swing for 240, taking out the Alakazam. Nice. So, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep trying with this match. I mean, I don't think it's a winning matchup, but you never know. We might actually come in clutch. You never know with PTCGL, so we'll have to see. Lieutenant Surge's Gamble? Sure, I'll take a prize card. Rather than take one card in their hand than 3 extra, and we get a boss off of that. Interesting. Also, I just realized that this Pheasantipity got a new full art. Looks absolutely phenomenal. A lot of Pokemon got full arts in this new set, which is nice. Although, I guess that means that they won't be rotating out anytime soon. There's actually no way they didn't have an energy for the Alakazam. Oh my god, I think we might have just won. Because now I could boss up this Fez. Attach the Brave Bangle just because. And we could just take him out for 270. And that puts us ahead in the prizing. And if they boss up my Victreebel, I still have this guy back. Wow, did we just win? Oh my goodness. I don't think they had an energy in their hand. That's why they didn't attack me with the Alakazam. I think all their energy was... It's got to be at the bottom of their deck because they used 2 Wondrous Patches to get the 2 out of their discard. And they put one on Abra and one on Togepi, but I think that just solidified the win for us. Wow. That's crazy. Alright, I'm going to assume my opponent went AFK when they realized they couldn't get the energy for the Alakazam, because they haven't moved anything, and then they promoted this Rotom, which I don't think they meant to do. So I'm going to assume they're AFK, and we're just going to sit here until they time out and we take the win, which honestly we would have taken anyway, because they can't take more than one prize card with my deck right now, or with their deck for that matter. So, I mean, this was a fluke of a win, but I'll take a win where I could get one. And this is why we say win more than one matchup, because a win like this isn't necessarily deserved, but I mean, it's still counted as a win. And there it is. They timed out. Okay. So, wow. An interesting win, but we'll take it, I guess. Alright, here we are in Game 4, probably the last match of the day. We're starting things off with Erika's Bellsprout, but we do have the Poké Pad in our hand, which will allow us to get our Tangela and really get things rolling. And we got ourselves the Forest of Vitality, so we could or we could just top deck the Tangela. That works too. So that'll get me another Tangela. Thank you very much. Which will then get me another Tangela. Which will then get me a Bellsprout. Which will then allow me to use my Poké Pad to get another Bellsprout. And we'll attach an energy to Bellsprout. And that's it. We're just going to pass. And it looks like it's a spread deck, which I am perfectly okay with. Well, not really, because my Tanglers are going to get eaten alive here. Alright, interesting. We'll see how Erika's Victreebel does against spread. And they can item lock me all they want. I'm okay with that, because I don't really have anything in my hand that's like item heavy, so all I need to do is plop down this Forest of Vitality and set up my Victreebel. And honestly, we could cross off side objective number 2 with that, which I was waiting to do this whole gameplay, so that's good. And we can bounce their stadium, even better. Just gonna Itchy Pile on us, I'm okay with that. We're gonna force the Vitality to just evolve, do all that fun stuff. We have the energy in our hand, let's force the Vitality. Let's Erika's to get me a Weepinbell. Which will then get me a Victreebel. I don't have the Brave Bangle, but it's not needed to be fully set up for this matchup, so I will count this. And let's just Erika Tangela again for another. Ooh, we seem to prize a Victreebel. That's not good. So I will just use this other Tangela to get myself another Victreebel, just to thin the deck some more. And the next round we could do is we get Arven for a Rare Candy, and then we get Tangela for a Victreebel, and just get our Victreebel that way. And there we go. We'll take out the Badoo, and thanks to Forest of Vitality, we had our Victreebel set up turn 2. There we go. We will take that. All of our objectives have been cleared for today, so whether we lose this matchup or not, I am satisfied with today's gameplay. And they are just going to attach the counter gain to their Snorunt and pass it back to us. So now what I will do is I'm going to Rare... maybe, you know what? I'm going to Pokégear instead. Pokégear might be better. And we'll get an Air Balloon, because why not? And... should I thin? Yeah, you know what? Let's thin. That way when we Pokégear next turn, we have our best odds of getting whatever supporter we need. Probably like a Lillie or an Iono. No, we don't want an Iono, because they're in top deck mode. But probably best if I get myself a Lillie. That's what we're going to aim for. So let's get as many Erika's Pokemon out of our deck, so the odds of us getting the supporter we need are heightened. And let's just take out the Snorunt. Their Monkey Dory is completely offline because they don't have a Frostlass, and they don't have any damage on their side of the field. So there you go. Taking another prize card. And here comes the Badoo again. Coming in to item lock us again, which I'm not okay with, because I was going to use this Pokégear. But they're going to Buddy-Buddy Poffin, probably getting themselves 2 more Snowrunts, so they can attempt to get their Frostlass set up once again. Nope, they got themselves 1 Snorunt and an extra Badoo, so they're really dead set on item locking us this game, which I guess is okay. I mean, I don't really have much else. I mean, I don't really need Crispin, because I already have 1 energy attached to Victreebel, so all I have to do is find a Grass energy, and he's good to go. I got another Poké Pad, that's fine. I would love my Weepinbell, though, out of the discard, the prizing. That'd be nice. But doesn't seem like I need it in this point in time. All they need is one good supporter, though, and this could be a whole nother game, so I do need to be mindful of that. And they're just going to continue to itchy paw on us as they get themselves the Maractus. Okay. I got an Iono. I am definitely not using that because I want them to have a dead hand. As we continue to bombard them with our Victreebel and take prize cards. They're probably going to promote the Maractus now, because that would probably... And there's my Weepinbell. Good. So now we can get another Victreebel into play next turn. And then we shouldn't be item locked, hopefully. So then we can finally Pokégear and find ourselves some energies with some Lillies. Unless they get themselves some more Badoos with the Buddy-Buddy. No. Oh, it was a Lycanroc deck the whole time. Interesting. I thought this was like the Grimmsnarl setup, but no, it's Lycanroc. Okay. Excuse me. Choking on my own saliva here. I would have much rather it was Grimmsnarl, though, because Grimmsnarl is weak to grass, so we would have had a fun time with that. There's the Night Stretcher. They're going to get themselves another Badoo. Okay. So we are still item locked. There's the Itchy Pollen item locking us. I'm fine with that, though, because now we have the Weepinbell, and there's my Grass Energy. Good. All right. I mean, this game is pretty much in the bag at this point. We have 5 prize cards ahead of them, and they have a 0 card hand right now. So, unless they have, like, the most absurd supporter pull right now, I don't see them winning this game. I really don't. And I already have a Victreebel in the back waiting to take out whatever it is that they want to promote. Okay, so that was a very interesting turn of events. They got themselves a top deck Lillie's Determination, which allowed them to pretty much get a lot of stuff, to say the least. And somehow they got themselves a Mega Frostlass into play with the help of an Ultra Ball, which I was not expecting. But, I mean, I'll take it, because we could just boss up something and still take the win. Which I am going to do right now. We're going to boss up this Munkidori, since he was a problem for us, and we're still just going to take the win. Alright, so, it could have been a very dangerous game with that Mega Frostlass. I mean, we still two-shot it, so we could have prevailed, but if they got set up sooner, that would have been a completely different game, to be honest with you. And that is going to do it for my Erika's Victreebel deck. Very simplistic, but very dangerous. It sets itself up so beautifully with the help of Forest of Vitality. And like I said, the hardest part about this deck is just the Crispin. If you can get your Victreebel set up, though, very easily with the help of Crispin and Forest of Vitality, and you just bombard your opponent in the early game, and they have a hard time setting their own board set up, getting their own board set up, then you could manually attach energies to your bench Victreebels and do it that way. So the hardest part is getting your Victreebel set up in the early game. But once you do get him set up, oh my goodness, guys. He just goes on a rampage. And he does a lot of damage. 270 is nothing to scoff at against EXs. And since nothing in the format can take 2 attacks that are 270 each, and you're a completely one-prize deck, I mean, it goes a long way. Like I said, Max Rod, I think, is your best bet with this deck because, like I said, with the Force of Vitality, you can get a bunch of Victreebels back into play with the help of Max Rod. I did think about using, like, Super Rod, but I know that's rotating soon. So if you want to keep with the format, you could use Max Rod. I don't really know what else you could do to get all those Pokemon back. Maybe Lana's Aid, but if you really need to Crispin a turn, that's the thing. Crispin is such a strong supporter in this deck. Like, you don't want to use any more supporters because if you're having trouble setting up, like we did with that Alakazam deck, and in all honesty, I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, we probably shouldn't have won that Alakazam game. We only won that because they were AFK, and I got ahead in the prizing, and they didn't find an energy. Like, it was really circumstantial. But in all honesty, I think we shouldn't have won that matchup. But I'm glad we did. But you guys saw this deck struggles when they take out your main Victreebel that gets set up with the Crispin, and you're unable to just set up your bench Victreebels. But like I said, with the Meganium, where is he? This guy here, with the Wild Growth ability, he eats up one of your bench spaces, and then Victreebel's attack power just doesn't hit the same way it does. So, yes, Meganium is helpful in some ways, but in other ways he's harmful to the deck because not only is he more difficult to find, and then you have to waste resources on him, and then if he gets knocked out, then your whole plan goes to kaput. Like, it's a whole thing. I've tried the Meganium, I tried the Ogerpon, I tried the Area Zero Under Depths, I tried all that. I hit for like 350, not 350, like, yeah, like something like that. 300 and something damage with Victreebel with the help of the Area Zero Under Depth, but I was only able to get it off once. So it wasn't very consistent, but this very bare bones setup was very consistent. I was very happy with the outcome. And I'm sure you guys can also say in the comment section that the deck speaks for itself with this very simplistic loadout that I have. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. I think I did a beautiful job showcasing Erika's Victreebel. It was the #1 card I wanted to show off with Ascended Heroes, and I'm glad I did it justice today. That's pretty much it. Don't forget to like the video if you liked it. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some more crazy and wacky rogue decks from me, Rare TCG, because I will be going through the Ascended Heroes and seeing what other wacky decks I can build. But that's it for today. I love you guys. Thank you all so much for the support that you have been giving the channel. We are almost at 800 subscribers, which is crazy to say. And we are almost at our goal of reaching 1,000 subscribers before my birthday in April. So let's keep it up. I love you guys. Thank you all for watching. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.